Hello, and welcome back to Voices of the West. Thank you for joining me for this interview. Today is Howard Fichtel. He's also goes by the pen name of Brayden C. Hawke and has a number of different Westerns out there available for us. Howard, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I retired from the military after 26 years. I retired in 2017. Uh, since then, all I do is spend time with my horses, my wife, and my dogs.
That's a pretty good way to retire. Uh, what is it about Westerns that inspires you?
Well, it's really just the whole genre. I grew up watching Western TV shows, movies, playing cowboys, reading books, and I think it's just just the pioneering spirit that they have. It doesn't matter what adversity comes, they always overcome it, and they're there to enjoy the good times too. I just like the whole concept of the Western genre.
Absolutely true. In your opinion, what makes a good Western?
Well, I think characters. Obviously, it has to be a character with good depth. But just like I just mentioned too, that I like the challenges that are overcome. I like the adversity they face. I like the just the rough characters that always persevere.
How much do you consider the reader when you write? Or basically saying, do you think about what the reader wants to read, or do you write pretty much what's in your head to write?
Well, I think I started out more just with what I wanted to write. Uh, in the military, I wrote all kinds of standard operating procedures, directives, policy. And early on in my military career, I also took a college English composition course. And the professor would post a picture up, and we had to write a story about the picture. Uh, and I got used to, uh, just writing off of a short time frame. Sometimes he would just give us the 1 hour class period, write a story, and I got used to just writing for me. When I retired from the military, actually before I retired from the military, I started writing uh, the Western books. In fact, my first book took me about a 7 year period from start to finish, and I was just writing for fun, just for me. As I've written more and I've talked to Nick uh, and heard what he has to say, I started writing more for the reader. But again, character development. Are the characters interesting? Do they have a story to tell? And can they relate to the reader?
What areas of the Western do you feel have not been explored well enough or developed enough? Or basically, if you were to write a brand new Western starting today, which you may be doing at the moment, what would you want to write about?
Well, I think I'm fairly new in this. I learn a lot when Nick has the group meetings where all the authors can log in and give their perspective. So, I think that's kind of difficult for me to answer.
Fair enough. What kind of research do you do before writing, and how long do you spend researching before you start to write?
It's probably not the best answer, but I really don't research a lot. If I get an idea, I just start writing. I've read, like I said early on, I grew up watching TV shows and movies in the Western genre and reading books. I read, I think, every Louis L'Amour book. I read Luke Short, Zane Grey, and I continue to read from various authors and a lot from the Dusty Saddle publishing authors. So I just continue to read, and I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, actually, it's probably the most effective way of researching something is continuously reading things because you get everybody's perspective and you pick up on the facts. I do things as a cover artist for things. I'm always having to look up new things about westerns just to be able to figure out what on earth I'm supposed to put into a cover for somebody. So yeah, definitely good way of doing things.
Yeah, and I've traveled extensively too, not only in the States, but also overseas. So a lot of the geography that I put in my books, it's things I've already seen, places I've walked, that kind of thing.
Mhm. Always the best experience. You can write best what you know, and if you've already experienced, you can describe it the best. Yep, very true. What are some misconceptions about Westerns that you'd like to clear up to readers?
I think maybe that Westerns are not a has-been genre. I think that the Western genre has a lot to offer. And again, reading different authors, I love the different perspectives and different twists that authors put in these Western books now. And I'm trying to get that into mine. In fact, you mentioned the new series. I'm staying with the series that I have going, uh, but I'm also started another series that I'm just kind of drafting, and I want to make it more of like a mystery type book.
Those are always good too. Mixing the two of Westerns and mysteries are always a good thing. And certainly nothing calls for justice more than a good mystery.
Yes,
What comes first for you, the plot or the character?
for me, it's the character. I love developing characters, and I just start developing the character, and then how they look, then how they speak, what their mannerisms are, and then I start developing story.
Where do you get the inspiration for the characters?
A lot of it's just from people I've met. In the military, I traveled worldwide. I met a lot of interesting characters. So I use some of those traits to develop my characters.
Makes good sense there. What would be the most valuable piece of advice you can give to somebody about writing?
Well, I read a book Stephen King wrote. I can't remember the title right now. Something about memoirs of his writing. But I read that book many years ago, and as I started writing, that what he wrote started coming back to me, uh, just as a general for writing. But the way I write is, I just write. I'll sit down and I'll just write whatever comes in my head. It goes on either on the computer or on paper, and kind of like with if you've ever cooked spaghetti and you throw it on the wall, and if it sticks, it's done. It works. Then that's what I do when I write. I write, and sometimes when I come back and reread, I'm thinking to myself, "What were you thinking?" And that just falls right off. And but a lot of what I do write sticks, and that's what I keep. And then I just start developing the rest of the story on what sticks.
I find a lot of writers work from the perspective of they hear the character's voice in their head and they write what the character is telling them to do more than necessarily them trying to really tell the story. They're hearing what the story is that the character is relaying. Do you get that kind of a thing, or do you plot out where you're going in a story?
No, I do. Uh, Not that I have people talking in my head, but I kind of do. No, as I develop my characters, I really uh, they kind of become part of me. So when I'm writing, and there's a particular character who's in that section. No, I do hear their voice, and then I hear them saying, "No, I wouldn't do that. I would do this instead." But I get very in tune with my characters.
Absolutely. A lot of times you hear that the character wants to say, and you end up writing an entirely new section of the book you never planned on going to before.
Yes, I've done that. I've rewritten entire sections that I get along with the book, and as a character develops into the book, especially a new character, and as he gets further along, I go back to the beginning, and yeah, that's not really part of the character what I did earlier, and I redo it to how the character has developed.
What can you tell us about what you're currently working on? You said you were continuing the series. The third book I thought was being wound up as a conclusion to your two main characters running together and fighting, well, coming to a final confrontation. Where are we going next?
Well, yeah, so it was an end to those two main characters in the first three books, but with the fourth book, I'm continuing on with them the lead character, Jedediah Taylor. I'm continuing on with him as a bounty hunter. So I've got some old characters, a lot of new characters that are in it. I want to continue that theme. I want the Jedediah Taylor story to continue for as long as I can. And the new one I'm writing, it's another Western, but I haven't decided if he's going to be a bounty hunter or if he's going to be like a Texas Ranger or something like that. But I think it's going to be well, and I want it to. This is the one I wanted that I'm working on to be kind of a Western / mystery.
Perfect. Where can readers discover more about you?
Right now, just the books. My wife keeps pushing me to get some kind of a social media page, which I haven't done. But
Always a good thing to do. Yeah, certainly. The more you can share things between people, the faster it gets spread around, the more people buy things.
true, and that's what my wife keeps telling me. So I think I'm on that edge now where I'm going to do it. Plus, listening to Nick and some of these other authors, and with Dusty Sadling, and also with Lauren. She just came out with a nice little clip that she sent out a few days ago, and I read that a couple of times, and just to how to relate the Western genre to the younger readers. So I showed that to my wife, and she says, "Yes, this is why I'm telling you. You need to get your name out there."
Always a good thing. Well, hopefully this interview will be going out to a bunch of people and get your name out there to more and get you some more book sales going your direction and start moving towards the next chapter of everything.
Thank you, and I really appreciate your time and working with me on getting the schedule set.
Oh, no problem at all. This is Howard Fichtel here, and this is Voices of the West. And good luck on everything writing forward. And I'm looking forward to seeing them all coming through.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.